In the last video, I showed how to add an entries file using the web IDE, but here's how you actually create that entries file in the correct format. So here I have a typical meet results file in Excel format. So first thing you want to do in with something like this is turn it into a CSV. So I'll just save it as a CSV here and call it anything I want. I'll call it entries draft. Yes. And now I'll just I'll close it out. I'll close it and I'll reopen it just to remove all this formatting stuff. So here we have the CSV of the meet results. So what we want to do is we want to make these columns and all these results in the format which we need them to be. So it should end up looking like something like this. So what we can do here is first thing we notice is that the points are not needed because they are calculated afterwards in OpenPL. So we can just delete those columns. And another thing we notice is that the division is here and not actually in the row, which it should be. So what we can do here is now create a column for the division. So if we have any questions about what I'm meant to name it or the capitalization, since it's cap sensitive, the README file is very useful. The README file here has all information on every column that you'd need, including whether it's mandatory or optional. I'm just going to copy that and put it here. Now we're going to put in the division of everyone's. Juniors 18 to 19. So after a lot of copying and pasting, I've filled in the divisions for everyone. This division field is a free-form field, so it can be any text in there really, for most federations at least. So I would recommend just going through your federation meets and seeing what text they usually use, because some use shortened versions like FJR, which means female junior, or MO, which is males open, right? A lot of them use those divisions, and it doesn't really matter. It's just a way of sorting the data after the fact. So now that I've added these here, I can now delete these rows, which only showed the division. And I'll also delete the rows with just blank lines. All right, so now that I've deleted those rows, there's still some data that is not shown in these rows. That being the sex of the lifter, which is a mandatory field, as shown in the README here. Says that the sex is mandatory. And also the equipment, also being mandatory, equipment here. And one more thing, I think, is the event, being powerlifting, bench only, or deadlift only. So the event here, these are the accepted values. So let's create those columns here. We can create them anywhere we want. The order doesn't really matter. Making sure that it is all spelled correctly and using the correct capitalization. So, do that. So I filled in all the sexes here, and now I'm just going to fill in the equipment as well, which is, I think, raw for this whole competition. So I can just, otherwise, if it wasn't raw, then, the values are stated here. For all the powerlifting events, those are SPD. Right, now here being just bench only. And then here being deadlift only. So now that I've added that data, I can remove these columns as well. All right. Now let's fix up these columns. Call this place, name, state, sex, class. So I don't think that sounds right. So let me check the README. And here it is. It's weight class kg. So let's copy and paste that in. And the weight, I'm pretty sure that is, yeah, body weight kg. Age is there. Um, so for the squat, bench, and deadlift, those are different. Squat one, bench one, deadlift one. And again, I'm sure a lot of these methods that I'm using could be improved and made a lot more efficient and automated, but I don't think I'm wasting too much time. So okay, one thing we're missing here is best squat, best bench, and best deadlift columns. And I'm going to go through and put in a formula here to calculate that. All right, so here they are. Actually, instead of filling them in like with the formula, I instead just ran a script from the scripts file from OpenPowerlifting, and just it just did it all for me. But you could do either way. Make sure we're not missing anything. And oh, there it is. Something we're missing. The birth date is mandatory for all meets since 2020, I think. So we'll just add that, and it does not actually need to have anything in it, even if there is no information. This looks good to me. So the final step here is to check it using the checker that OpenPowerlifting has provided us. So if I scroll up here, this is the link to the checker. One more thing that I did forget to add is one more thing that I did forget to add is, since this was a tested meet, I'm just going to add a column that says tested being yes. This does not mean that they actually did a test. This just means that they entered in a drug tested division, and since this is a tested meet, then they all have a yes next to their name. Here's the meet CSV that I'm going to test with it. This is much easier to create as it's a lot smaller. I'm just going to add the date now in Notepad. Where is open with WordPad? And add the date as 2022 December 24th. It has to be in this format as stated in the README. Copy and paste it into the OpenPowerlifting checker. And then the big one, open the entries with add, copy the whole thing into entries, and now we check everything. Unknown state, Texas, right. I think they use the shortenings. I think it's TX maybe. All right, so I checked it, and the meet CSV passed, but this had a bunch of errors, and I realized I did something quite not very smart. So in the entries draft, the weight class is meant to be just the weight and not kg. So if I just select this whole thing, Control F, kilogram replace with nothing, replace them all. All right, now it should be good. All right. When I removed kg from weight class as well. So if we just put that back in, kg. All right. Okay. I guess that name, it didn't like it not being capitalized. We'll work through the other issues soon. So let's open this up and fix that. There we go. All right. That is now fixed. And what else is there? Total cannot be 0. Okay. Total. So let's read up on total here. Total kg. If one of the lifts will fail or the lift is disqualified, the total is empty. Right. So not a 0. So in the cases where total kg is 0, let's replace it with nothing. 19 replacements. That was stupid because it replaced all the zeros. Okay, so in the cases where entire cell contents is zero, replace it with nothing. And now we replace all. Two replacements. There we go. That sounds a lot better. There we go. Both have passed. We have now created an entries file, which is good enough for the open powerlifting project. And now we can go ahead and add it there.